Yeah. Welcome to another edition of the Pros and Cons of Barack Obama. My name is Dominic.
And
This
I'm
is-
Terrence.
And I'm the new guy, Bob Whitney.
Yep. So, we're going to discuss the plan to have Guantanamo Bay's prison closed within about a year from now.
Yes, sir.
I think we can all agree that that is a great thing that Barack Obama is doing. Bush's decision to have Guantanamo Bay as his site to torture people and hold people without a trial is, disgusting. So it's very good that Barack Obama is deciding to have that closed soon. So what do you guys think of the decision of Obama to close the prison?
Well, personally speaking, I think it's ideal that he does close the prison, but what makes us think that the torture and waterboarding is going to discontinue? I just don't believe that for 1 minute. We also have techniques where we send them to countries that do torturing, so I think that's still going to take place. But we need to get them off our soil, but the question is, are we just releasing them to come back to harm us? Now that's the quagmire that he's stuck with, because some of those guys are bad guys.
Which is true.
And you let those bad guys go as we've let go in the past, and they turn around and blow up this or blow up that or kill this and kill that. It's a catch-22.
Well, also, what needs to be taken into consideration, say, for instance, those that were detained that didn't have anything to do with terrorism, that are so pissed at us for being held for 5 years without any trial,
sad.
that as soon as they get out, they will join a terrorist
We're building
organization. And
it's like Mr. Smith in The Matrix. One goes down, another takes its place.
Well, my whole feeling is that if there's somebody that's dangerous, why not give them a trial to see if in fact they are guilty of whatever it is the United States is accusing them of.
Exactly.
If so, then they should be in prison. But if not, they should be released. But holding somebody without trial just makes the U.S. look like, we're violating human rights, but we're telling everybody else that they have to obey human rights.
Well,
It looks hypocritical.
the term enemy combatant needs to be taken into consideration also.
Right.
Those people that are being held without trial at this point were shooting bullets at American soldiers. So it's
Some of them, sir.
well, it's you got to take that into consideration also. My problem is that there's a number of harmful people that are in there. How we can identify them is so difficult.
Exactly.
There's really no good or right or wrong way
Exactly.
of doing it. So personally speaking, after September 11th, if I'm going to err, I'd rather err on the side of safety for our country than the err on the side of politics, because people just don't like the fact that we're holding these people. They weren't just walking down Broadway. They were in Afghanistan in a war environment.
Perhaps. I'm sure that there are some people who are dangerous and may have committed crimes. However, you have had people, even under the Bush administration, who Bush and company couldn't find anything against the people that they were holding, and they quietly released them.
Right.
So, there has definitely been people who were probably just in the wrong place in the wrong time.
Or was shooting at us because that's their country. I mean, you also consider
Right.
that also, we're attacking their country. They
Exactly.
do have a right to defend
Which-
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's a
Which
good point.
makes me, which gives me issue with what you just said, with the erring on the side of, or cautioning on the side of
On the side of caution.
of caution.
Yes.
That's not fair. If someone is detained, just say, because you came to my neighborhood, there's a firefight. I'm trying to protect my children, and I'm detained for doing so, which has been a majority of the reports that I'm hearing, an investigation that's coming out of not just of Gitmo, but out of Abu Ghraib. That a lot of these are just people that were
They were
caught
snatching
up.
everybody.
They were snatching everybody.
Snatching everybody, yes.
And erring on the side of precaution, that leaves too many innocent souls that might be affected.
Well, the Saudi Arabians just arrested, and it was in today's paper, one of the people that were released, and he's now doing terrorist activity in Saudi Arabia once again, and they arrested him.
Right.
So, there's another guy that we had in our possession who was not talking to us, not giving us anything. We let him go. It's really a hard thing to call. Now, when Obama closes Gitmo, what do we do with him?
Well,
Let's don't get a bus or a plane and
Well,
fly
there's
back.
been some countries that have accepted some of the
Are those
the
torture
prisoners.
countries?
Some of them are torture countries. Some of them are torture countries. Some of them aren't. But my thing is, what happens to, from what I'm hearing now, the one that's left that no country wants?
I think they all need lawyers, and I think the due
Yeah.
process needs to be followed.
Exactly.
That is our Constitution.
Exactly.
If you're on our soil, which Gitmo sort of is and sort of isn't.
It is.
Our base is U.S. sovereignty. What I
Right.
mean? I don't care what country you're in, it's a U.S. base. So,
Exactly.
So our laws do abide, we have to abide by our laws and Constitution. I think they should get legal representation, and we should go for
But you want to give due process to a terrorist?
I think that at this point here, we need to decide to do something because we just can't open the door and let them walk out.
And I also feel like you do need to grant them due process because you have to decide whether or not they did commit any violent
What
acts
type
in the
of
first place.
Republicans are you?
And a couple,
Not at
listen,
all.
listen, a
Not
couple-
at all. There are no Republicans in this
and
forum right here.
in
as we
preparing
speak.
them for their legal representation, if we would just have a couple more days of waterboarding before.
And see, that gets back to what you were saying in the beginning, because it is good that this prison is closing, but will there be another prison where, you know, people will be held indefinitely without trial?
They're
Will
already
there
talking about
be?
10 and 11 work.
Come on now, listen. You don't think that there are shadow prisons as we speak now? Come on.
Right, right. I mean, I'm sure that there are. And the whole point is, will Obama take the necessary steps to make sure that the U.S. is no longer sending people to places where they're going to be tortured or holding people indefinitely without trial? So while it is good that Guantanamo, the prison, is closing, you know, will the abuses that happen in that prison maybe happen elsewhere?
But as Bobby said, don't you think that he's put in a quagmire because there might be combatants who do want to, to hurt American citizens and harm American citizens? What do you do in a situation
If
like
we
that?
put ourselves into our intelligence community's mindset, they're going to be the ones advising on what he should or should not do.
Right.
After all, they have the most experience and the most time with this situation. They're going to probably most likely determine which ones need to and which ones don't. The ones that need to may be sent to countries that don't have this constitutional right to your safety. You know what I mean? And hopefully there'll be enough evidence to warrant it to say that, yeah, this guy here is a bad guy and he's been giving us a hard time.
But that's
And
the
it's time
problem.
that we send this guy to this place. This guy will send him to the.
But most
to
of
the-
them,
to the
there's no
powder-
evidence against them. So
Well,
what do we do in this
Well,
situation?
we
like
do
that?
have the initial capture of some of these people too. We do
Right.
have some information from some of the people that are in Gitmo that do some talking about certain people.
And just to speak on that very quickly, and
But just to finish my point, we
Oh, I'm
also
sorry.
have people that are outside of Gitmo that are speaking of some of these very people that are in Gitmo.
But from what I've heard, you know, I'm a political, that's what I do. A lot of the informants have their own agendas. So a lot of these people that are being held prisoner might have been ratted on by someone who
That's
is
right.
from a different tribe
Absolutely.
that, you know, have their own agenda. We were paying, when I say we, our country, this administration, or the past administration, were paying some informants for information.
Yes, we were.
So you get
We're
what
still
you get.
paying.
Exactly.
We're
So,
still
so you
paying.
get what you get, whether it's true or
Yeah.
not.
Well,
So how
torture is an informant to two unreliable sources. We
Right.
do
Yeah,
know that.
exactly.
yeah,
We do know that.
exactly.
Because an informant will tell you what you want to hear, and a tortured person will tell you what you want to hear. So
Exactly.
there is no real solution to it. You just have to have, like the Inquirer, 4 sources.
Right, exactly. Well, this has been another great edition of the pros and cons of Barack Obama. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. We'll probably have one very short. Another
Welcome,
one very
Bobby.
short.
Yay!